The biggest fight possibly in British boxing history, the biggest fight card, is only a few days away. And the man that headlines it, who's headlined so many big cards, is the former unified heavyweight champion of the world, Anthony Joshua. And he sat down with our very own Spencer Oliver.
Would I be at Wembley in front of 96,000 people if I was fighting someone in the top 100 or top 50?
Sure.
Probably not. But I've done it time and time again. That's probably why. Look, they don't like me.
They do.
They like
mate.
what I do. I fight the best.
Yeah.
One thing you're going to get from me in my career is he fought him, and him. And that's what we're supposed to do as fighters. I need to test myself because it makes me have thicker skin, makes my heart stronger, and makes me a better person because I know that I never ducked a challenge. It's tough, don't get me wrong. But I want these fights that make me not be able to sleep at night.
You get part of that elite group. You become a 3-time world heavyweight champion. Josh, at the beginning of the journey, would you have ever expected that?
I tell you what, just going back to training was a success because training's hard. You know, anyone that's been to a boxing gym for the first time, you got messages. I'm sure, Spence, I feel that killed me, that boxing session. So just going back again is a success in itself. Now to be going back to boxing, fighting, going again, it shows real character, and that's how I started. I just started off going to the gym with my cousin.
Sure.
It was really tough.
I remember the journey.
You know what I mean? Really tough, and we stuck with it, and we're here now.
Listen, you become 3-time world heavyweight champion. Box ticked.
I've got
to ask you. You know where I'm going with this one. You know what I go like. Fury Usyk go December 21st. AJ wins there. I know what I'm saying is undisputed. It was another one on that tick list, and you got a chance to do that if you come through on Saturday.
Then the 3 times don't mean anything anymore.
Oh no, it does, mate. It does, mate.
You're nothing until you become undisputed.
Well, listen.
AJ there, Gareth, talking about how comfortable he is now fighting in front of massive crowds. Obviously, look, we're hearing it will be 96,000 on Saturday. I mean, he's done this journey now so many times. I mean, Vladimir Klitschko, 90,000. Alexander Usyk at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, 65. Joseph Parker at the Millennium Stadium, near 80. I mean, AJ walking out in front of stadium-filled crowds has now become the norm. This is what he does. If it's not stadiums, it's sold-out arenas. So he's way
absolutely. I was
this.
just looking at that. When you think he went from Manchester Arena with the win over Eric Molina to Klitschko in 2017 at Wembley, the Principality Stadium against Carlos Takam, Principality Stadium against Joseph Parker, back at Wembley for Alexander Povetkin, Wembley for Kubrat, Wembley Arena, actually, that was lockdown. And then, he goes back again. It's been a while. You know, Wembley Stadium, the last time was 2018 for him. But he's done Tottenham Hotspur in the meantime, as you mentioned, against Usyk. So 6 events, 60,000 plus people. I think he's also had his moments when it didn't work for him. At Spurs, I think he was enjoying the occasion too much, if you recall, on the walkout. He was quite strange that day. He can be strange on fight day. But I think he's really up for this. I think he looks very composed. He seemed very happy yesterday. And I think he's used to that big occasion. But he can't afford to let any nerves that might be there affect him. Because my feeling was when we spoke to Daniel Dubois yesterday, the Dynamite Kid, Big Desperate Dan, he surprised me a bit yesterday, I'll put it that way. Surprised me with how happy he was, because I wondered if he'd be pulled out of shape a little bit this week, given all the extra media duties that are involved with what is, as you rightly say, an enormous event.
Yeah, it's an interesting observation that about Daniel Dubois, because I kind of got the same thing. Obviously, I was doing some bits for DAZN, and he was just smiling. And I'm like, are you not nervous about this? I mean, you're going to walk out in front of 96,000. He's like, well, look, I've been doing this since I was 7. We've almost been prepping for this with my dad since I was a baby. And if you can't enjoy this, what can you enjoy? And he seemed very, very calm. He came into the room he walked upstairs. Like, obviously, AJ's got his entourage, right? AJ walked upstairs with his team. Dubois came up by himself. I was literally watching him walk up the stairs by himself, sat down, fun, jovial than left. I was like, this is very interesting. I kind of he went up again in my self-esteem. I was like, okay, he's very, very confident.
The timing's right potentially for him. This has come at the perfect moment. Maybe there is a perfect storm around him, and it certainly swayed me. I'd picked Joshua to win. It just swayed me back a little bit yesterday, saying if this young man really, really does believe in himself now at the age of 26, and he's had Joshua as a target, and he's got the background knowledge of he had some very good spars against Joshua. Obviously, the ones that people often talk about that created havoc for Anthony Joshua. There's certainly, as we spoke about a couple of days ago, there's more pressure on Anthony Joshua to produce a victory in this for himself, for the narrative of the heavyweight division.
Yeah.
So, very impressed. Very impressed.
What about the magnitude of the event? Obviously, look, you read out AJ's sort of stadium fights back to back to back to back to back. Dubois only had, in terms of being in a main event, one. That was against Alexander Usyk, and we saw how after 5 or 6 rounds, he kind of, I don't know, it crumbled a little bit. Let's just, for want of a better word. How's he going to handle walking out in front of 96? He's never done this walk. Never. Especially, never done it as a champion.
I think the feeling he's got in him is that I'm going to relish this moment. I'm not going to worry about how many people are in there. I've got a job to do. I'm the Kingslayer. Joshua's been on my mind for a long time.
Yeah.
Like you say, that kind of surly air that he has sometimes, where you feel like you really are squeezing blood out of a stone with him, was not there yesterday, and it's lifted a cloud that I had over that. I'm glad you're saying that as well, because there was an impression that this young man believes he can go out there and do it, and that this is his moment, and 100%. That at 26 he could potentially right now take over the heavyweight division if he beats Anthony Joshua. He could have a rematch with Alexander Usyk. Yeah. I don't think Tyson Fury would want to fight him. Why would Fury want to fight Daniel Dubois at this stage in his career? He wants to win against Usyk. He wants to fight Anthony Joshua. So he's 26, Ade, and it feels like he's been around for years and years.
Yeah, he's as an athlete, he's in his absolute prime. He's had his knocks, he's had his ups and downs, and he's come through them. And like I asked him yesterday as well, like, if you beat AJ, are you aware of how big a superstar you will become? Like it's almost like the Highlander movies where you chop off the head and you take.
There can be only one.
He will literally take all that power. Yeah, it's that. It literally is that, and he would become a superstar. And there are so many incredible fights for him out there. Incredible fights. So, look, good luck to him. I really do think that he deserves. Look, he's been in the public eye, at least our eyes, for years, as you mentioned, since he was a kid, and now he's a fully grown man. He talks well. He can handle interviews now. Yeah, something he could never really do before. So I'm really impressed with him.
If he wins on Saturday night, it makes him a sporting superstar. But it's going to take a lot for him to cross over into the mainstream. He's going to be the guy that beat Joshua, first of all, on his home patch, 7 years after Joshua made that massive impact on the UK. For the Vladimir Klitschko fight, that delivered in every way, that showed Joshua's second wind and stamina, his heart, his inexperience when he thought he'd won the fight. And he walked away with his arms in the air like Ali, but Klitschko rose again. He went down himself. He was in this dark tunnel for a round and a half, 2 rounds, evading all those massive hooks that Klitschko missed with, and then came back to win the fight. And I tell you, I remember how big it was. April the 17th, I think it was 2017. I think it was April the 7th. It might have been April the 29th. It was in April anyway.
I think it was.
Yeah, it was. It was definitely in April. I will clarify it. It was April the 29th, 2017.
29th. Okay, yeah.
I remember that morning. I even went on the Today program on BBC Radio 4 to discuss it, because that's the politics program, remember, on that Saturday morning. It was that big. It was front It was centre pages and it was back pages of the newspapers. It was so big because there was an outpouring and the country wanted to talk about this phenomenon, Anthony Joshua, and where he'd come from and how he'd been an Olympic hero. Daniel Dubois will just be the guy that beat that guy, first of all. And he'll be known to sports fans.
Yeah.
And then I think his resonance could grow after that because he's quite little known. I mean, that superstardom is yet to come.
No, he is. He is. Everyone that asks me about this fight is saying AJ versus who? They obviously know it's AJ. They're not quite sure who the other guy is. But again, that happens sometimes. You need a fight that catches the public's imagination. And if he can look good, and which I think he will, I'm not saying he'll beat AJ, but if he can look good, then, you draw a few of those fans as well. Before we wrap on this section, we don't fence it. We don't have splinters in our backside. You were very kind enough to pick your winner on Saturday night, on fight night. People might not have heard
Anthony
that.
Joshua between rounds 5 and 8. But I'm not ruling out that Dubois could do it.
Okay, I'm going for AJ. Yeah, around that. I'm going to stick with what you just said there, 5 and 8. I wouldn't be shocked if it happens a bit earlier.
If I have to pick one round, it's round 6.
If I have to go for one round, it's 4. I'm going, a tad bit earlier. I'm going to go 4 for AJ to get it done. Because if Daniel Dubois is still standing after 6, we might have a problem if you're an AJ fan. Because Dubois has got stamina for days. So it will be interesting if this does go a bit longer.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.